All right, now you know how to format and print values and how to work with numbers, get values from users. I want you to practice creating a table like this. I want you to get to values from user, which we have done so far. And then I want you to create a table like this, which have different operations. So at the header of this table, it explains, okay, we are going to have different operations. And then it shows you the exact values that you got from the user. And then it draws a line for you. And then later on, it says, okay, in each line, you have addition here, subtraction, multiplication, division, so on and so forth. We don't know, we haven't practiced these two yet. I'm going to talk about them in this video very briefly, very simple operators, and then we are going to try to create this exact table for us. Okay, so let's first start with integer division or truncating division and modulo operators. So with integer division, as you see, it has two slash, which like two divisions next to each other. What it creates for you is the integer division, like the integer version of if you have a division, right? So up here you have a division, so 50 divided by 4 is 12.5. If you have integer division, it's going to cut the decimal place for you, and it only gives you the integer value of that division. So as simple as that. So it gives you the integer version of that division. And it is called either truncating division because it truncates the decimal part of it, or integer division, whichever you feel comfortable. And you need to have two division signs next to each other, two slashes. And that just simply creates the integer division for you. So that is the first operator that we needed to talk about. And the next one is modulo. Modulo is basically the remainder of a division. So if you divide 50 to 4, the number of 4s that you have, or actually let's go with something simpler. Let's say you have 10 and you want to divide 10 by 4. So you have 10 apples and you want to see how many groups of 4s you can make out of this 10, right? So you have one 4 group, which is the first 4, and then the next 4 groups, which becomes 8, and then 2 are going to remain. So that modulo gives you that remainder. If you divide a number by another number, how many of that number, how many of those groups you can create and how much is going to remain. So that is what you're getting here. So 50 divided by 4, we know 48 is divisible by 4, so the remainder is going to be 2. So there are two numbers, or 2 is going to be remain as a result of that division. So modulo gives you the remainder. And that is a very useful operator, and there are examples that we are going to have that practice with the modulo and where and in what problems we need modulo to use it for. And then last one is exponentiation that we talked about before. So with exponentiation, it's like raising a number to a power of another number. So 2 to the power of 3, for instance, that gives you 8, and so on and so forth. So you're raising 50 to the power of 4, and this is the result that you're getting out of it. Okay, so these are all of the operators that you knew most of it, but today we are going to practice creating the table that we have right here, right? There are going to be lots of formatting that goes into it, but one thing that I highly recommend whenever you're given a problem is to do it step by step. So my first part that I'm going to take care of is getting 2 inputs from user. And I already have that in my program right here. I'm getting 2 inputs from user. We already done that. So first I'm going to put the input function in, and I know I'm going to apply some arithmetic operators on them. So I'm going to convert that to a numeric value, right? So I'm going to use either integer function or float function to do that for me. And then I'm going to store the values into the variables that I created. Right here, I'm calling them num1 and num2. So I'm storing those values. So that part is done. If I run it, it's going to ask for those 2 inputs. The second part that I'm going to take care of is like this line, this header. I'm going to take care of that header, create it, and then after I'm going to move on to the next line and next line, right? Step by step. I'm going to again first figure out how to do this part. All right, let's go back to our program and we are going to go ahead and try to create that line. Okay, so I'm going to have my print function, and for now I'm going to just simply put operation. I'm going to have this line in there, and I'm going to have num1 and num2, right? I think that is what we have. Oh, there's another line between the numbers, so I'm going to add that here. So at this point, again, I'm just trying to put the main stuff in. I'm going to take care of a spacing and formatting in a second, right? Again, do it step by step. Do not rush into doing everything at once. Usually it takes more time if you want to jump into doing the entire thing at once. So do this step by step, run it, and then see the result. So 5 and 2, and here we go. So right now I have everything just next to each other. And that is because whenever we are using a comma in the print function, it's going to insert a space for us, right? It won't care how many spaces you put after the comma between your value. It's just going to ignore that. So if I put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spaces here, it's going to ignore that and simply put the numbers that I had, right? Regardless of those spaces. If I added, however, inside the string, that means I'm changing my string. That is a different story. I'm adding those spaces into the string that I have, into a value that I want to print. So Python is going to print those spaces because now it's part of the value that you have. But if it's not included here, it's not going to print it for you. Same thing here with numeric values. Doesn't matter if you add extra spaces before or after them, it's going to ignore them. It's going to just get rid of them, and just for each comma that you have, it's going to insert one space for you when it displays the information. The reason I do put a space after comma is just my style. I usually want to see a space between my value and kind of separate them from each other for sake of visibility, right? It's up to you. Some people don't like to put in spaces between the values that they have. I like